and Brandon.
Wow, if we could find the mute button here. Looks like we're having technical difficulties on Facebook, it looks like. Didn't go live, but anyway, we'll continue on. Blair, can you confirm that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's saying I can't click go live, so let me see here. Move.
Oh, that's a first.
Yeah, we might be able to fix it here. Oh, I think I fixed it.
Yep, there we go.
Is it on?
Yep.
All right. Anyways, welcome back. We're back again for another episode of the Throwin Sliders podcast, episode 63 this time. Florida man Danny Sams III joins us here. Throwin Sliders is part of Scrub and Tires Media, the number one racing podcast in the state of Colorado. And thank you all for making that happen, especially our every weekers. You guys tune in. We appreciate you. I am Brandon Hall, and to my right is Mr. Blair Cooper, driver of the number 32 ASCS Sprint car. And yeah, I think we know what we're here for tonight, and that's our special guest. So we will go ahead and get right into it. But first, we did want to shout out Hoosier of the Rockies. I am wearing swag for the first time, so thank you, Blair, and thank you, Samantha and Mark Hamilton, for getting that. They had a big weekend, which we'll touch later on in the show, with the CMS opening their season rather with the Centennial Midget Series midgets this weekend. 2-day show it looked like, so pretty cool there. But yeah, thank you, Samantha and Mark Hamilton Motorsports, and we'll play the ad and get Mr. Danny Sams on the show. If you're serious about performance, whether that's on the track or off-road, you already know having the right components and having them readily available is crucial. And that's exactly where Hoosier of the Rockies comes in. They are the official Hoosier tire dealer of Colorado, which makes it incredibly convenient for local racers to get the tires and supplies they need without the hassle of waiting or traveling out of state. What really sets them apart, though, is that they're not just your typical brick and mortar shop. They're right there in the action, trackside supporting racers when it counts most. Whether you need fresh tires between sessions or race weekends, fuel to keep you running, or critical components like radius rods, rod ends, wheels, and more, they've got you covered right then and there. Don't have what you're looking for? No problem. They can also order you and your team just about anything they stock in various sizes, colors, and specifications. Just let them know. That kind of support can make or break a race weekend, and it's why so many drivers trust them when it matters most. On top of that, Mark and Samantha Hamilton of Hamilton Motorsports bring real experience and passion to everything they do. They understand the demands of racing because they live it, and they're always ready with the right recommendations to keep you performing at your best. They race, you race, so let's race together. If you're looking to stay competitive and fully supported on or off the track, check out Hoosier of the Rockies and see why racers across the region rely on them. Call 303-632-6360. Visit them on Facebook, Hamilton Motorsports Racing, or stopping by locally in Arvada, Colorado. Hoosier of the Rockies and Hamilton Motorsports, the proud partner of Scrub and Tires Media and the Throwin Sliders podcast. All right, and right on cue, we got Mr. D3 in the house. How are you, buddy?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Better now we got our tech side figured out on our end. Sorry about that.
Right. No worries.
All right. So a little bit in the pre-show. Sounds like you're back in Florida. Come to visit and got some weather down there, huh?
Yeah, it's I guess just the normal Florida storm. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit sick right now, but yeah, normal lightning. It is the lightning capital of the world. People don't realize that. It's pretty rowdy out there right now.
Yeah. So where are you at? Are you in a coach? You in a house? Where are you at?
I'm in my parents' house. I came down here for Memorial Day. My grandpa was a veteran, and he passed away last year, so Dad wanted to come down and see his grave for the first time on Memorial Day, and just spend some time with some family. And before we get going on the road, we get really busy here after this weekend.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you've already been, like Blair said in the pre-show, we've been keeping up with you, and obviously we'll get right into that. But yeah, life on the road, man. I don't know how you guys do it. So
anyway, is it? Yeah. Sorry, Danny, to get right into it. Being out of Florida, obviously a lot of guys you see, whether it's high limit or outlaws, it's not real East Coast dominated. So are you spending time? Do you guys have another place on the road besides out of the hauler that you stop and work? Are you sharing shops with other guys? What's that dynamic like?
Well, it starts. I was home less than 65 days last. Let me put it this way: I was away from home 305 days last year.
Man.
That's insane to put on paper. And no, I don't. We have a shop in Elkhart, Indiana. Not to brag, but I sleep inside an RV inside the shop.
Oh,
So I can wake up. It could be noon or midnight. I wouldn't know the difference. So I,
that could be
um,
dangerous.
yes, yeah. It's not the most luxury living, but it's what you got to do to chase this dream that we're after here.
Sure. Yeah. So let's I had to do a little bit of research on my end, and I do want to plug TLP Tony Laporta, because he was gracious enough to connect us with Danny here. But coming into this, obviously we've seen you, especially I think it was 2025 when you joined, the big show per se, and obviously before that we'll get into that. You drove a lot of different machines to get where you are today. But take us through the very beginning, quarter midgets and go-karts and that kind of thing. How did you get into this? Is it a family deal? What's going on there?
Well, funny enough, I was actually born in Kentucky, but I was
Okay.
moved to Florida when I was 2 years old. So that's why I claimed Florida. I graduated here. I went to every school here. I claimed Florida. Well, we moved down, and my dad opened a mower shop in Florida, and that was what he did. And someone came in looking for a valve springs for a Honda clone engine, and I loved NASCAR
Oh
at the
yeah,
time.
brother.
And my dad asked him, "What are these for?" And he's like, "Oh, my kid races quarter midgets. He's 5 years old. We race at New Smyrna." My dad's like, "That sounds awesome. Danny would love that." And so we went and watched that night, and sure enough, we came home with a quarter midget that night. And I was, I
Oh yeah.
think, 4 years old. We started practicing, and you're allowed to race at 5. And started racing at Ambassador in Tampa, and we just raced and raced and raced. And grew up with Bubba Clem's son, Tyler Clem. Um, and then we kind of did that. And then I actually ended up teaming up with Connor Morrell, who's on the Outlaw Tour now. And we went and did the USAC quarter midgets. And that was traveling coast to coast. And by this time, I'm 9 or 10 years old. And I raced against the likes of Carson Hocevar, Harrison Burton, Todd Gillen, the kids that did make it to NASCAR, Jake Garcia. Um,
Sure.
so I grew up and I raced those until I was about 13 years old, and that's the likes of what I grew up in. And when we weren't racing those quarter midgets and traveling across the country with Connor, we were racing dirt flat carts. We had a guy named Jimmy Williams that took care of them for us, and he helped me get into dirt. And at that time, it was about time to step up to the next thing, right? And looking at, I mean, we complain about costs now, but costs were not near the same as what they were then. Like it was so much cheaper. But we're looking at the cost of things, and to go pavement truck racing or pavement super late model racing was tremendously more than doing the dirt route. And Jamie Williams was gracious enough to help us get a mini sprint, and my dad also got a pavement truck. So it was we were going to see how we did both. Well, we went and raced the mini sprint, and the truck was for sale the next day. We couldn't wait to just stay on dirt. We fell in love with it, and like I said, it was significantly cheaper too. If we would have ended up going the pavement route, I don't really know if it would have worked out. If we could have swung it financially, I feel like you need a
Mhm.
lot of good breaks to make that happen. And so we went mini sprint racing, and we were able to win the. We just raced in Florida majority of the time, and we won the um, championship and rookie of the year. So it was like, all right, let's get a 305. And at this point, my dad went through a serious battle with cancer, and we didn't have a ton of money, so we sold like golf carts and knickknacks, a four wheeler, this and that, to buy this 305 engine. And the guy that dynoed our 305 really enjoyed us. His name was Roger Williams from Indiana, and so we went and raced the 305 with the 360s at Bubba Raceway Park in Ocala, and by some miracle I ran fourth. No idea what I was doing. A coilover car, like nothing. It just worked out. And he decided, he's like, I'll build you a 360 for parts. So we sold the 305 right away, and we sold other stuff, just to get this 360 engine. And that's what got us racing at USCS level. And we ran third that year in points, and just doing a lot of learning. I wish, everyone in the hindsight, I wish I could go back and like because I know how to be better now, but I didn't at the time, and be more aggressive and when not to be. But that's everything's hindsight, and that's what gets you where you're at. And we raced that for a couple years, and we ended up running a GLSS for a year, and that was up in Michigan. And we were teamed up with Connor. We're with Amalie Oil and Terry McMillan. I don't know if you remember the Top Fuel dragster, Terry McMillan.
Oh, yeah.
He had the Gator car. His shop was the L car. And so we ended up shopping out of his shop, and that's where I ended up meeting my current car owner, Rocky Anderson. We were racing those Michigan races, and we actually met at the track. And he's like, "Oh, our shop's in Elkhart too." And we ended up talking and meeting, and never thought anything of it. Just like, "Oh, this is a good friend here." And so we went from racing that, and I had the opportunity to run the ASES National Tour a year later, and that was in 2020, and that was the year of COVID. So we raced, I don't know, 3 or 4 races, and we're leaving Petaluma out in California. And we had new car owners, the East Mountain transport car. And this is when COVID was happening. It was March. And I was still in high school. I was flying back and forth. It was just Dad and I on the road. And we didn't know if we were going to be able to get out of the place because it was lockdown. They were going to shut the ports off to California. They had all kinds of rules coming out. So we hightailed it home. And that year, I think we only ended up racing 40 times. And
only.
Well, yeah, it's comparative. But, you know.
All you road guys are like, oh, yeah, I raced 50 times and it was a light schedule. I'm like, my goodness.
But we were expecting to race a lot more. I think we ended up 10th in points, and we weren't too bad. But that deal ended up folding up, and we were kind of left stranded. My dad didn't really have anything. Like, if we were going to race, it was definitely going to be at a hobby level. And I was getting ready to graduate high school. And Rocky, my dad was friends with Rocky. They just called and talked, and he's like, "How about we try to put together a car for you to run this year?" And it turned out that, my dad's 360 engine and one of Rocky's, like, his oldest Triple X car, and pieced together parts. And that was 4 years ago. We're on our 5th year together, and our 6th year, I guess now. And we ended up running 3rd in the GLSS points, and he wanted to always keep moving us forward, but we had to earn our next spot. So to get to a 410, I had to win a 360 race. And that was just the rules, right? So I finally won my first race, in his first race at Merritt. It was funny enough. We had a teammate, and he didn't want to come race. He had something going on for the second night. And we were up in, like, very North Michigan, middle of nowhere, Merritt. It's actually a really neat track, and they're running non-wings too. I've never raced a non-wing in my life. And Rocky's like, "Let's take the wing off the other car," because we had it with us, a wing car. My dad wasn't there. I think he was gone on work or on a hurricane storm trying to get some work. And so we took the wing off the non-wing car, or made it a non-wing car. I flipped the right front over so that it made the front axle wider. And I had no idea what I was doing, and I ended up starting on pole.
Wow.
And it was weird. The track was getting heavier as the night was going on. I was the 360 versus 410s, and I led 22 laps. And it got so heavy, I was wide open and about to flip over. Like, I was trying to keep the tire of the track. Well, we had a restart. I about tipped it over, spun out in front of the entire field, crashed Rocky's car to pieces. Just crashed it. First non-wing race. And I still had to go run the wing car, and I started on pole of that. And I ended up winning that one, but so it was like a bittersweet win. I wrecked one of Rocky's cars and win the second one, but he was happy. It was his first ever win. And the next year we got ourselves a 410, or Rocky got us a 410. We were racing 360 primarily. And my first night out at Fremont, no, it was Attica. First night ever out at Attica, I went out, was qualifying. Like, there's no hot laps. I went out on the track, and I was going to be like, "Oh, it's just a 410, no different." Floored it, wheelie, put it down, wheelie, put it down, wheelie, about crashed all qualifying. Went to turn 3 at Mach 5,000. And about blew it off the track. And came in, Dad was like, "You can't do that no more. you gotta chill out." And then at 360, I'm racing for the win. but I'm running that thing wide open. I thought I could do the same thing with a 410, and you can. You just got to know what you're doing, and I did not. And so we raced there one more time at Attica, significantly better. Made the show both nights. I just chilled out. Definitely the second time I was racing almost for the top 10. And then we took that to Wayne County for double duty. I was racing 410s just when I could do double duty. That was the thing.
Sure.
And I enjoyed that because I felt like I got way more track time. And at this time, my dad and I and my mom, majority of the time, were flying from Florida here. We're up there to race, and we fly back to work, and I was a machinist. And I'm actually doing some work at the machine shop now. But that's how we were able, to fund it and to live, get my parents' house paid for, all that stuff, and hustling really hard. So if we could race extra without extra days in the week, we were really pushing to do that. And we could fly a Legion at the time for $70 away. So it was $140 a weekend.
Hell yeah.
So we were like, rock on. We'd leave Thursday night, and we'd head home Sunday at noon. And we would get the cars serviced from Saturday night to Sunday, just wouldn't sleep. But we were double duty, and we went to Wayne County with GLSS. And I was last car out in 360s, and I went quick time. And then 410, I think I qualified like fourth or something like that. Lifting a bunch. I feel like I was driving that one like a sissy because I didn't want to do what I did the first time ever out in it. And I ended up winning my heat race in the 360s. And not in the 410. I think I ran second or something like that. And I was purely just pacing the cars in the 410. Like I didn't know how hard to run in the corners. My first ever time in Wayne County, and the 360 I ended up winning that one. And I went and got in the 410, and I was like nervous because I was confident. Like you gotta like calm yourself down. And I started on pole, and I got a start. And I remember, you start off with 4, and I got a good one. I was like, well, Wayne County, you just throw big bombs. I was like, I didn't know how fast to throw it, how hard to throw it. And I kind of said whatever. And I didn't tell Rocky this, but I was like, what? I won the first one. Let's send it. And I sent it in there and didn't crash and left him. And I remember I was rolling around there on like lap 5 or 6. And I kept looking to my inside because I didn't think I was running fast enough. I kept waiting to get past because I just didn't know the pace you need to run. And I remember I got so like in my own head, all of a sudden I went to the middle. And that is like the biggest no-no. I'm sure Blair can tell you. You don't go to the middle when the track's slicked off. Like it's just that's if you want to be slow. And the caution came out. And I was like, Dad, I remember after the race, he's like, did you know the caution was coming out or something? And I was like, no, but I got lucky because I would have got past, but the caution came out. And I like had a come to Jesus moment with myself. I was like, what are you doing? Like, at least try, like, just run the top, see what happens. It's okay if you don't win. And I ended up winning that race. So it was my first 410 race, my third race in. And Rocky was like, he was there. He said, well, I don't know what to do now. I've ran 3. He's like, we can't go. This is when the All-Stars were big, right? We can't go run the All-Stars yet or anything like that. So that was how we got started with Rocky. And that kind of, I feel like, solidified my position with Rocky. And we've really just built really hard every year. We've gotten better stuff, try to get more help and more sponsorships. Like every year has been a stepping stone forward. And we just went primarily 410 because I just don't think the 360s are feasible unless it's more of I'm sure Blair feels the same way. Like I don't want to say a hobby level, but the money wise to do this professionally, it is extremely hard in a 360. The purses are a lot of times a quarter of what it is. I mean, we just went and raced Saturday at a Tri-City Speedway with a 410, and it was $3,000 to win. It's hard to find a 360 race that is that much. That isn't a national race. It's hard to go in there and beat Hafertein and Bergman and just on a random, night. It's very tricky to run 360s. My goal since I was a little kid when I started when I was 5 was to make a living doing this. And I wouldn't say I'm doing that yet, but I'm working my way towards it, right? And so that's kind of why we focus so hard on the 410. And the costs are extremely similar. I mean, I'd say a 410 is a little bit more expensive, but you're racing for a lot more money. And it's not like a high limit race is minimum $1,000 to start, where a majority of 360 race is a couple $100. And it's like, it's just so tough. You burn the same amount of fuel, same amount of tires up, Tires cost the same. The motors are $2,000 difference, brand new now. I mean,
Yep.
and we're getting the same 9s out of them. Like, we're pushing our 20s easily in our 410s right now if we keep up with them. So it's a super tricky deal to make the 360s work.
And we've talked about that a lot, is that, like you said, even freshens. I think I got 18 out of my last one before they're like, send it back. And it's no less than 15 grand anymore to freshen them. And, we talked with Blake Hahn and everything too, and there's still a market for it, but I think they're going to eventually have to wash us out. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I've said the same thing over and over. And even the national tour now, they're racing like once a month. So this weekend,
it just doesn't make any sense to me. The goal of the 360 was to be cheaper, but a 305 is getting super expensive as well. We need, I feel like, a crate motor or an LS or something of that nature where you can't make it more expensive. And it's okay if you buy it from a GM manufacturer or this manufacturer. Just where, like, sprint cars are awesome with a lot of horsepower. And unfortunately, like the 305s, I feel like the coolest race they have is an Eagle, because they have it's like a big slot car race. But them other races, it's hard to watch them when you can watch a 410 that's right on the edge of danger. And even 360s look wild, but it's like we need to figure out how to make a 700 horsepower car cheap, because that 500 horsepower, yes, you have to be a really good driver to do it because it's momentum based, but that's crazy to say 500 horsepower isn't near as exciting as 700, and let alone 1,000 almost now, right? And that's the tricky thing, but I don't know who's going to step in and fix it.
Well, if you can figure that out, I think you would have your living made that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. I'm not in the market to be a race promoter or a series starter right now. I can tell you.
Well, we sure talk about it a lot on this show. We don't know what we're doing, but we talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
So you're progressing. Go ahead, Blair. I know you.
No, I was just going to. Yeah, it just is really. It's funny that you even mentioned that, because we talk about it a lot, and I know that's how I feel. But like you said, even the 410, I feel like promoters they just know that it's 360. We can sell this as a little bit of an under or support class, and they still are filling up stands. For like last year at Callahan, they had a national tour race, which is our like closest track, and the place is sold out, standing room only. But you're still not getting 410 purse. It's just crazy when I know the costs are, the same, very close.
Promoters getting the 410 purse, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We won't mention any names.
I love bringing 360s in if it brings the crowd.
Yeah. So fast forwarding into, I guess, 2025 last year, you and Rocky, what made you guys say, all right, we're doing this, we're going full steam into high limit? Why did you go that route instead of World of Outlaws? Talk us through that.
Well, really, we wanted to do it. Were we going to do it? Wasn't sure. It was really Dave from Moxie. He came on board, and he said, if I'm going to do it, I wanted to be on a national stage. So if we wanted the sponsorship, we needed to take the step up. And honestly, we chose high limit. And I'm going to be cut and dry about it. It was less races, and we didn't have enough engines technically. Like, we've done things on the thin side, and we still are. Don't get me wrong, but the Outlaws could have worked too. We definitely looked at both of them. We looked at the like, I don't want to say the gamble of each, but like, what's the ceiling of each? What's the long-term plan if we even get there? What would be easier to get to the long-term plan, right, where this is feasible? There's a lot of things that we took in consideration. It I would say it was just strictly to the less races. The travel was a little bit more, but I'm looking, I had 3 410s, and I'm looking at like worst case scenario, right? Maybe 15 nights each, because things can happen. Still not the full schedule, and then we ended up blowing up a couple last year. So we had a really hard year last year. And I don't know if we could have done it on the Outlaw Tour, because they run 30 more races, Could we have? Would we have? We probably would have figured it out, and that's what we did last year. You keep your head down and you really do the best you can. Things usually come around for you. At least that's what I like to think, right? And
right.
But I think the ceiling is a little bit higher with high limit. I think they are pushing to be the next thing on more platforms, like with what they're doing with Fox and that type of thing. I think the Outlaws are very proven. They have the history. And it would be, if you're making a bet at a casino, I'd say your Outlaws is your safer bet, but way less payout. And if a high limit works out, it's a more of a gamble, but way bigger payout maybe at the end of the day. And we're talking 10 years down the road, and I want to still be doing it 10 years down the road. I want to earn my place there on the roster, and I want to move my way up the roster. And my family wants to do it with me. But I'd say that was the main reason. But I really enjoy the camaraderie that the guys have. I feel like we're a team working together, but very fierce on track. I feel like I would say Outlaws is harder to win, and High Limit is harder to run top 10. I feel like the depth in High Limit is like anyone can. I mean, if Aaron Reitzel doesn't win right now, you're gonna be like, "What's going on?" But I feel like anyone can win in High Limit, and you can say that's not a surprise. Within that top 10. Right. And if the big three and the Outlaws don't win, you're gonna be like, "What happened last night?"
Right.
With Gravel, Macedo, and Kofoid, those are the three. And if those guys don't win, what happened? Where if Peck clicks off a win, you don't really say anything different. You're like, all right, it's good that they got their first win. Not where was Rico, where was this? Because they were still probably in the top 10. It's just a super. I feel like the top 10's tougher in High Limit, but it's harder to win in the Outlaws. Now that would be my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've said kind of the same thing before too. So,
yeah, no doubt. So, what you mentioned some of these drivers there, and there's 15, 20 more that you could mention in High Limit. What has it been like to go from racing throughout your career in the early stages to being at the top of the top? Some could argue World of Outlaws better, High Limit. We're partial to High Limit on this show, but what's it like driving wheel to wheel with the Ricos, obviously Brad and everybody, Tanner Thorson? We could go on and on. What's it like racing with those guys week in, week out?
I mean, the first Outlaw show I made was at Volusia, and it was Dirt Car Nationals a couple years ago. And I made it on the final night. And I remember I was like a little kid in the car. I finished fourth in the B main. I beat Jacob Allen, I remember that. And I was the last car to make it in the show. And we're doing the 4 wide, and the methanol was just burning my eyes. And I was the happiest camper you've ever. Like, I was like, there's David Gravel, there's Kyle Larson. I was just like in awe. And that has faded. I'm still very thankful into that, but I've become where, in this world we're in, you have to look at it as blue car, red car, white car.
Sure.
You need to know what your competitors can do and how they race, but you don't need to get in your own head about it. And like, I just won a heat race against Larson at Grandview, and it was just, that's a white car. Like, I didn't think about what should I do on the start? What's he gonna do? I know how good he is. That guy ran the Indy 500. That's a white car. How can I get a good start? And I still have those moments, like at the dash draw, Rico's talking to me. And when I was in, I think 2014, he won the midget championship. I met him at PRI for the first time. It's just like I still have those moments every once in a while, but it's not as I don't know, as significant. I guess because you're almost used to it. You run with them every week. It's the same guys, and they're all just human. I'm just human. They're just human, and they've earned that respect and that title. And you look up to them, and it's amazing how much they want to help you. Rico is very instrumental in everything I do. Actually, I can talk to him about anything. I can call him, and he'll give me his advice, and he'll do it for the best, not any malicious way, not what could better him, what could better me. He wants to see the whole, the tide raise so all the boats can raise. I'm good friends with majority of the drivers, and it's a cool feeling. You kind of feel like you belong, and I really enjoy keeping good friendships like that.
Yeah, no, I certainly can appreciate that. I guess now that you kind of have that relationship with those drivers and crews and everything like that, and it's one big community, do you ever stop to smell the grass, if you will, and say, hey, I kind of made it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely. Well, the made it thing is tough because I'm last in points right now.
Well, hey.
But yes, like when you pull into Eldora or Knoxville or really any track, because majority of our tracks are full of people. I don't know if we sell at every race, but we sell at a lot of them, and it is a cool feeling when you pull in. Someone knows who you are when you're walking through. It's a very humbling moment. It's that used to be me moment. I used to be that little kid at the races. I went to all kinds of sprint car races. It was a big deal for me to see a driver and do that. And I try to take my time and talk to people. But like I've had people in public, like random places, know who I am. And it almost is a little creepy sometimes because I'm getting used to that feeling now. Like I was on an airplane the other day and someone stopped me. And I was like, oh, like, I mean, you just never would expect that. Like I couldn't imagine what Kyle Larson goes through, or any of those people. They can't even go through a Walmart without getting stopped, right?
Sure.
But yeah, I do think about that a lot, and I've done it with my dad and mom majority of the way, and people ask like, "What's it like?" Being on the road. I'm like, I'm a 24-year-old kid living with my parents, and I'm proud of it. I am proud of it because I'm getting to do something that majority of people could never get the opportunity to do and wish they could do. And I want to make the most out of every opportunity. And well, I got to admit, when I've like ran around Eldora and you're idling around there and you look up, and there is nothing but people. It's a pretty intense feeling. It's
I bet.
Good or bad. It's just neat, and that's an opportunity the majority of people will never get the opportunity to have. So I do notice that a lot.
Yeah, no doubt.
Danny, I wanted to ask you a little bit, you started to touch on it, but the business side of this. So, obviously you're becoming a marketable driver. You get recommended for the podcast. I'm sure the media is picking up for you. I think that most people assume that maybe aren't in this world that if you put a car on the track and you're a full-time guy, you run the races, make the shows, that sponsors and money just roll in. Tell us what the grind is like that on the national level. For if you've had to get creative with some sponsors, like for instance, we talk a lot, like now I have a car dealership, friends of mine, they just give me a truck. So I don't even own a truck. I drive like a 2014 Nissan Sentra around, from the junkyard, basically, or from the auction, and all my money's trying to go into further my program. So we have to get creative like that. Is there stuff you're doing? Obviously younger guy, media savvy, you're starting to get more exposure there. Are you having to get creative to do sponsors, or are you finding it harder that you say, hey, we're running the tour, can you guys help us out, back us the traditional sponsor way? I mean, obviously you have some of that, but is that getting harder to say, hey, we'll put the sticker on the car trailer, you get some exposure through the TV, or are you having guys get creative with it? And the reason I bring that up too is I hear Brian Brown talk about it a lot, that he's had to get creative. So are you still seeing people are willing to back, or is it getting harder and harder as we go?
Well, I don't know if it's getting harder and harder. It's knowing the people that want to help you, right? There's so many good people in racing, and there's a lot of people that enjoy it and they want to see their logo go around the track. But it's a tough thing for a lot of people. It's hard for someone to sit aside and watch all 60 or 70 races we do. Are they wanting to pay for each one that they don't get to watch? That's a lot of stuff you got to take into recognition, and then you have to realize, like, we're on a national tour. Is that going to help this company that, say, only does one region of the country? Now there is people like Pell's Tire on Jacob Allen's car. That's in Coldwater, Michigan. I think that guy just might really like his logo going around the track, and he likes that connection. I think, you have to kind of understand your route, and I have gotten creative with my sponsors and my help. I feel like the biggest success I've had with it is understanding who I'm dealing with and knowing what you need help with and what is the easiest way that they can help you. What product do they already have? Like you said, the dealership. That is easy for them to let you use a truck. Where, impact signs and graphics, it is easy for them to help me with graphics. It might be harder for them to stroke a check. And Glenn Steyer chassis, it's easier for him to give me Glenn Steyer parts and cars and help him advertise his brand, other than stroking a big check and not really knowing what it's going to. What strikes their heart the most, I feel like, is the biggest thing. You just have to really know your person, and you want to make it easy for them to help you, because they might really want to help you, and you want to make it enjoyable for them. And I feel like getting that personal connection and truly trying to understand who you're with, and not taking advantage of anything. I think that's super important. And I feel like it's best. Like, I don't like asking for help. I like talking about, what we need
It's
and
hard.
stuff, and and then I like it when people offer, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but I don't ever want to feel like I'm taking advantage of someone or putting someone in a spot where they feel like they have to help me. I want people to want to help and be part of the program, and then I feel like that investment will be bigger in the future. And we still don't have a bunch of help, but we have way more than we did last year, and it's still not enough for what we need to be a super successful team. But maybe next year that could be even closer to that. Like, we have one more 410 engine this year. That's huge. That's a lot of money, and it we just finally timed out one engine. We've made it all year on this engine so far from dawn on, and it like scared me because I have flashbacks of last year, because we started with 3 last year and we were down out of 2 of them at this point last year. We had one engine with 20 nights left, or 20 nights on it, and we were racing around Port Royal. It was scary.
By the skin of your
time bomb.
Down to 3, for a couple of weeks, and it's just like it's actually a cool feeling because I'm in a significantly better spot than I was in last year, and I crashed a lot last year, but there was a lot of people that stepped in, little things too. Here's a couple $1,000s, which is not little, but unfortunately in the grand scheme of our racing it is. But that literally got us from track to track, and we ended up finishing the tour when probably a lot of people didn't think we were gonna. And I feel like this year we have significantly more speed. I'm learning how to keep my car cleaner, keep myself out of trouble. I still had a big crash at Eagle, but things will happen. But I'm learning the whole aspect of thing, and trying to include the partners in every week without overwhelming them too. Like I said, a lot of people don't want to watch all 80 races or whatever we do. They've got a life too. This is my life, and it's just a fine balance, I think, of knowing who you're with and what makes them click. For someone to help you in the first place there's a reason for that. People don't just help people; they help people because they believe in them and they trust them. And I think never taking advantage of that is the proper way. Just be a good person and do the best you can, and I'm hoping it comes around for me.
Yeah. So I have a multitude of questions, but I'll start with one. Are you involved with that side of your race team, or is that delegated to your old man or Rocky, or who's taking care of the?
I would say I'm the head guy of that.
Okay.
I market myself for that aspect of it. Yeah, my dad's job, he's strictly the crew chief and works on the car chief and too.
So you're picking up the phone, calling these companies and.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And mostly it's not the companies, it's the people that own the companies.
Sure.
And because I don't think I think it's pretty hard to convince a marketing part of the company that hey, this race car is really going to have great ROI, in which it can, but you have to do it properly. And when someone can go get a billboard, and do something else, right? So I think you have to find people that are interested in racing, and that's the case. I don't think there's any sponsor out there that doesn't enjoy racing. There's a reason why they're on the car, but we need them to keep this going. So yeah, I am the one that handles that.
Interesting. That's awesome, especially at such a young age. That's
I was going to
cool
say, you're a pretty insightful kid, Danny. It's it's good to get to talk to you like this, because we see on TV and all that, but at your age to have an understanding of a lot of this stuff, you're already beyond your years.
Future.
That's what that says to me. There's a lot of guys, we talk about it all the time, that can get in and drive the car, but to actually be successful and have longevity in the sport, it takes so much more than that. And you can just tell you're on the right track for it. And that's really cool to see, because a lot of times too, I think kids your age get a bad rap. It's like, oh, well, and we see it, like we talk about it all the time with NASCAR and stuff. It's like, oh, well, the family can afford it, and then they have people that can help them, along the way. But obviously you've come through the grind too. And maybe that's what's made you a little bit more resilient and insightful too, is like, yeah, we can do this, but we're not just doing it.
You're right. The blue collar can relate to Danny.
Yeah, it's a struggle. And I could tell, and I remember watching you last year when those 2 engines went, and I thought, man, I just don't think that they have 8 motors on the shelf. Like, it just didn't seem like that. And we had heard a lot that you were working with the family team basically at the time, so I was actually even going to ask you too, in doing so, have you guys, so it was basically you and your dad a lot of that last year, right? Setting up the car and everything else. You didn't have a lot of help, right?
No, we did have Ben from Australia. He came over, but he couldn't stay for long with his visa. Yeah, majority of the time it was my mom, dad, and I, and my girlfriend Haley. My dad lost his dad last year, so he had to stay away for a while, and my mom had to go back and forth to help, with everything. So majority of the time, it was just two of us in the pits and Haley running the merchandise trailer. So yeah, and it's a lot of learning, and it feels like David versus Goliath every night. But you get used to that grind, and I feel like if you just keep your head in the right direction, and if you really want something, you're gonna make it happen. And like I said, this year I feel like we're significantly better. I feel like we're gonna end up in a good spot at the end of the year.
Well, I think to Blair's point, I was watching a video that popped up on your social page and the opening clip was you guys huddled around, most likely saying a prayer or something. How cool is that? Like that shows what your team dynamic is. So I got to ask, I assume you're doing social too. Is that the girlfriend who's doing that? Cause
I do all the social media as well.
Man,
got a lot of hats. You've seen what happened to Tyler Carpenter if you don't.
Right.
If she gets mad, you might be in trouble.
Yeah, I do all the social media myself. We put all our faith in the good Lord above, and I feel like that's why we're here now.
Absolutely.
But I eventually, selfishly enough, don't want to have to do social media and the sponsorships. I'd like to just drive the car, but I'm not in position to do that. I want to keep driving the car, so I need to do these things, and we delegate jobs. I feel like very well. I feel like we have very equal workload on everybody, and we're kind of finding our niche. I feel like right now of what works and what doesn't, and I'm learning the social media thing. Like, and it's tough to succeed in that, and it takes a lot of time, and that's my other thing. Like, I like doing the YouTube thing, but filming the video isn't the hard part. It's sitting down and editing it, making it watchable. You can't just throw clips together. You need to do a good job when you want to make it watchable. And I don't even know how to make it watchable, but I do my best of what I think's watchable. But I don't want to just, sit there, be like, I'm so tired. It's 2 a.m. This is good enough. I don't ever want to do that. When I do my social media, I want it to be as good as I want it, as good as it can be. So the YouTube thing's tough because I think there's a lot of potential there, but it's hard to find help at the same time when you don't have a big budget to find that help yet. But I think we're going to get there soon.
Well, we had Tanner Holmes on a couple years ago, and same sentiment to you. Your social media is top notch, and especially knowing that it's you doing everything that makes it even more special, or at least we appreciate it coming from media platform, so to speak. So really kudos to you. I do have another question. I have a picture of is it Triple D Graphics or DDD Graphics?
DJD Graphics.
Oh, DJ. I thought it was another D. My fault. DJD Graphics of your car and your merch trailer side by side. Number one, awesome paint scheme. The Florida Miami Vice. Is that? I assume that came from you. I'm a nerd when it comes to wraps and so forth. So gotta ask.
Yeah,
I am a nerd.
You talking about last year's wrap?
So I thought you ran in the early part of this year. Like, no, okay? Maybe I saw a video that was post-dated. Anyways, last year's wrap
was really cool. Darren pretty much did most of that himself. I did tell him I don't know how you can tie in Florida, but if you can, possible. And the merch trailer and everything, it still looks fantastic. And that was probably one of my favorite cars. And this year's car is more of a teal. I don't even know what color it is. People love, like, if you see it in person, people love it. There's just something about the teal. It's just a different color you don't see on any other race car. And at first I was like on the fence about it, and Rocky's like, that's what we're doing. That is what we're doing. And I was like, okay. And Impact did a great job on that one, and they got it sent over to us. And as I was putting it on, I was like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it. And when people see it in person, they really enjoy that color.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it's both options are, I think you guys have a special paint code, like for that Miami Vice. I don't know what it is, but it's really cool. So I always have to say that when I see a cool paint scheme, because I'm a nerd. So
thank you. Anyway, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So kind of switching gears a little bit, you're doing all these tasks. You've got the social media, the sponsorship. You're doing everything basically. How deep in the weeds now? And we've heard this from different drivers. Some they feel it's extremely beneficial to really give feedback for the setups. Is it your dad or your crew guys now? Do you leave that in the hands of them? Just tell them what you're feeling versus what they're seeing, or are you getting deep in the weeds on bars and spring, bar rate, wedge, stagger, all that, or do you kind of just say, hey, this is how it feels, and this is what I need, or how do you go about it?
I feel like I'm pretty well educated on a race car, being it's just been my dad and I. I feel like we've operated our best throughout the night when I just tell dad what I'm feeling. But if I feel something directly specific to what I feel like's wrong, I'll let him know why and how. But usually I just as of lately, we have this joke like I'll tell him something, he goes, "Just drive the car." But we'll get deep into it after the night. We
Mm-hmm.
trying to delegate jobs. There's a reason he's the crew chief. There's a reason I'm the driver, and I feel like that is the biggest benefit we've had lately is by me just telling him like, hey, I'm free here. I'm tight here. The car's pretty good. Or telling him like, hey, I messed up on my driving. The car's fine. Don't and owning those type of situations. But like a specific situation last week in Marin Tri-City, I told him, I said, Dad, I'm stagger free. And I said, the car is free on entry and all that good stuff, but it's rotating too early. The corner is making too sharp of a corner. And I said, that's just a specific thing I'm feeling. And he goes, yeah, well, I have you on a ton of staggers, is what he told me. And, but for the most part, he's got me usually within the window. We're top 10 capable qualifying car. And I just give him little things to tweak on. And learning this new GSR chassis and the CSI shocks, we switched both of those things going into this year. We started with just the CSI swap, and we got a GSR chassis halfway through the season so far. And so we've switched two things, but now I think we're really starting to find a stride. We're really starting to understand what
Mm-hmm.
that package wants is what I want. And they're both of those people are partners of ours, and we want to showcase their product the best we possibly can. And I feel like we're on 3 wins now with the GSR chassis, and the CSI shocks, and he does his own bars now. And I feel like it's going to become a combination that's sought after. If people like it or not now, I think they're not going to have a choice. It's going to be something that's going to be significantly fast later on, where it's almost like a buy-in thing right now, because people can buy a Maxim and FKs right now, and they know they're in the ballpark. I think we're going to have another option where the market isn't just
Awesome.
FKs now. If you
Mm-hmm.
walk up and down the pit lane, it is
It's
just
all
FKs.
FKs.
And how can you beat something that everyone else has? I mean, you got
Mm-hmm.
to, there's going to be innovation here eventually. And are you on the same FKs as David Gravel? Who knows? You'll never know. So I think
I would
CSI
venture
is
no, but maybe I'm
right.
wrong.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna say CSI is going to become a very fierce competitor to FK. With their new next gen shock that they've worked on, and we're helping them tune it, and they're helping us get faster.
It's awesome.
Like at Grandview, that was an extremely slick track, and that is something that used to not be in my forte. And we ran a solid top 10 with the PA with PNPA, with everyone
Mm-hmm.
there. So if we can do that on a regular basis, top fives will start coming, and then you keep working on the top fives, and you're racing for a win every night. I mean, just it's an extremely tough thing to do, but I feel like we keep tuning on this car, we'll get pretty good here.
So do you contribute to that? Because obviously folks that are watching you and keep up with you, you've been on a freaking heater, man. Like, I don't know, probably a month, like dating back. Do you attribute all that to like this camaraderie and the folks helping you? Or have you just found something, or you're just lucky, or what do you attribute it to?
I definitely attribute it to Garrett at CSI and Glenn for the GSR car. We wrecked that car at Eagle, and he got us another one, and it was exactly the same, like through and through. The scale numbers,
Hmm.
measurements, everything was perfect. They built cars as exact replicas, super repeatable, where that's tough for any manufacturer to do with a lot of welding and stuff. But Garrett's really worked with us on what we feel like we need, and we feel like we have a new package that we debuted at Mansfield, and we were and capable to win. And if anything, I made the mistake to give up. Were we fast enough to pass Cap Henry back? No. But was I fast enough to hold him off? Yes. So we gave up a win there, ran P2, and then we won the next night, went 10th at Grandview, and then we won at Tri-City this week with this new package. And I feel like it's almost like a flip of a switch. The car is very much in the ballpark. So we're I'm excited for Lawrenceburg and Butler, definitely Butler, and to see if this trend continues. I feel like I'm in a good mindset on how I need to drive the car. I'm worrying about myself, and I don't feel like I'm having to put myself in precarious situations to run fast and race other cars hard. I feel like I can just run my own line and pass a car when I want to pass a car, not force my way by a car. So it's a really good feeling. It gives you a lot of confidence. And I'm sure Blair feels the same way. When you have to throw a really bad side job or really chop a guy off to pass him, you know you're not really fast enough to be doing that. And these guys will do that. We race at a super aggressive pace. But when I can just roll by somebody and not have to take their line and just go on and worry about myself and not worry about them coming back at you, it's a really good feeling. And it gives you really good confidence.
Yeah. No doubt.
I think it's a lot of times it's funny too if people that have maybe never been in a car, like you're obviously all the drivers there are very good. And I mean, you know, even from like national tour level, even some of these local guys we run into that maybe they race a couple tracks and they've been doing it forever, like they're really good. But a lot of the time, like people don't understand that if you have a good car, that makes your night easy. We always kind of look at the guys too that take a crap car and do like they may move up 4 spots. And like, you know, you really see some wheelmen and like obviously the national level stuff, all these guys are winging it. So to have a good car makes your job so much easier. Like it's easy to go fast in something that's hooked up and handling. But like I've even watched, you know, some of you when you started and stuff like fighting the car and still wheeling on it. Like that's kind of what we made, like you and Cy Lynch. I'm trying to see who I think rookie contenders, you know, all these guys battling that are not, they don't have the notes, they don't have all this yet. And then you can kind of see the guys that fight through that and who are gonna to stay or have staying power in the series and stuff. And I think if you don't watch a lot, like if you're just watching, you know, the guys up front, you may miss a lot of that. So you got to take a look like mid-pack and you'll see guys struggling, and it's pretty interesting, you know, as far as the driver side, because I have nights like this last weekend, it was my wife, me, and my father-in-law, and we've only been doing, you know, and it's like, so they had a quick turnaround. So I end up just absolutely thrashing for a couple minutes because we were way off in a gear change. And, you know, it's like we're 20 points off on gear on a place that took rubber early, you know, so it is cool to see it turn around. And then, you know, you're running top 5 and you just have all these problems. And I think people don't understand what it's like to struggle too. And I've seen you have those nights. And then I've seen you like the other night be grateful for a 10th place finish, like because you're like, the car was good.
Yeah.
And we kind of have the motto of like, we either are really good or we learn. And I think you can, you know, attest to that. And it's just kind of neat to see. So I don't think a lot of people pay attention to that or understand it from the fan side. I hear a lot when we sit and watch races, they're like, if I was in that car, and I'm like, oh God, if you were in that car, you know, it's just so funny. It's just like, and they're even like, you're not athletes. And it's like, dude, if you've ever been on a rubber down track and you're too tight and don't have enough stagger, tell me how that feels when you get out and your legs are like noodles. You know, it is funny, just the disconnect a lot of times, but you got to appreciate people showing up and just being like, hey, I could probably kick his ass in the car, and it just makes me laugh, you know.
Yeah, I do too, because we all know they would be in the fence or not going fast at all, right? But I entertain it. Someone's like, oh, well, you know, I could do this. I did this like when I was something. And I'm like, yeah, you should probably try it. Just have fun with it. They don't realize that all of us on that national tour have been racing since we were, you know, in our single digits. Like, you know, it has taken our whole lives to get to that point for a reason, you know. And people are like, oh, my Nissan Altima is comparable. I'm like, no, but okay.
See what you did there.
Yeah.
So I guess oh yeah, there you go. It's different. I had a whole host of questions for you, Dan, but we're coming up at the top of the hour. So I did want to ask you, to Blair's point, I think we beat a dead horse here, but obviously Blair and I, you know, come from blue collar and not the big sponsorships and kind of the path that you took. Obviously we, so to speak, missed that ship, if you will, but you're doing it, in our opinion, the correct way, right? You're doing all the hard work behind the scenes. You wear many hats throughout your day and your night, 2 a.m, cutting YouTube clips. What advice would you give to someone at a young age that's trying to make it the path that you were forced to take ultimately, what would you give? What would your advice be to those young folks?
Do what you love, and if you love racing, you'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. And always, I just gotta say, like, just try to be the best person you be. My parents instilled that into me when I was young, and if you do good things, I feel like good things do come to people that are good people, and I feel like you'll get what you deserve. Work hard at it, be a good person, and there is no direct path. Your path can be different from everyone else's, and like mine's not very comparable to a lot of the drivers where they're at now. And be a good person. I think that's the number one thing, and just work hard, keep your head down, and it'll all come for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I did want to share Austin Gossel's sentiment here. There, Blair, I'll let you read it. I know you looked over when he said it, but go ahead.
Yeah, my buddy Austin Goss. I'm sure you've probably ran in. He was in Vegas and a couple of races with you guys this year too. But he said the Florida man is a true outlaw. I know I couldn't go up and down the road with my parents every weekend and not butt heads all the time and be as successful as him. So yeah. That's pretty funny. That is, it is a different dynamic. It's funny that you said your girlfriend. I was going to ask about that too, going on the road because, like, my parents would have been like, get in the trailer and trying to keep me away. Does your girlfriend have to fight off any tire biters now? They're like, oh, Danny Sams is here and she's got to threaten them and stuff.
She's just got back from being deployed overseas, so I don't think anyone's gonna mess with her.
No doubt.
My honest opinion. She's been gone for close to 8 months, so we just caught her back at Grandview. So it's very, very good to have her back. Missed her greatly, and we're very happy she's home safe. She was definitely in the thick of the conflict that's going on over there.
No doubt.
She's in the Air Force, and she was a reservist and was deployed before it all went down, and she just picked a bad time to be deployed because things went down halfway through her deployment. I don't think anyone's gonna be messing with Haley.
No, absolutely. Duly noted. Anybody listening?
Back it up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if she's listening, certainly thank her for her service. If she's not listening, then certainly tell her for that, because that's scary. And we often, take that for granted, all those brave men and women fighting for us, that we can talk about racing and race sprint cars each and every single week.
Exactly.
So thank you, Haley, for your commitments there. Well, buddy, I greatly enjoyed this interview, and I know you're 2 hours ahead of us, so we definitely want to get you back and get you some rest. You obviously under the weather, so want to get you as much rest as you can. But we're pulling for you, man, and you've gained a lot of fans between Blair and I and everybody watching here locally in Colorado and the surrounding areas. So keep up the good work. Like I said, we're pulling for you, and we greatly appreciate the path that you have taken to get where you're at, and we know that nothing but success is ahead of you. So thanks for talking with Tony Laporta and then ultimately talking with us to get on the show. We greatly appreciate it, buddy.
Well, I really appreciate you guys, and hopefully we can do something spectacular where you have to have me back on.
We would love to. Cool. Hey, you say the time and the place, we'll have you back on. But we did want to end with you. Obviously, you have a lot of great sponsors, many of which you plug throughout the show. But obviously, this is how you've gotten here. So now is your time to thank those individuals.
Well, first and foremost, our car owner, Rocky from Global Inc. Rocky's given me the opportunity the past 6 years to really showcase what I can do and do what I love with my parents. He's provided everything we need and then provides more and more every year. Dave from Moxie Performance Advisors has been instrumental in my mental game. He does a very good job with helping businesses get off the ground. He used to be the CEO of Dryden Oil, and this is his new business venture. And he's done very good on helping our team improve in all aspects. GSR Chassis, Glenn Stiers, what an amazing guy he is. He always has a big smile on his face, and he truly is a close friend now. And very thankful to have him and be racing his cars. That they're safe, but they're fast. We've showcased both ways, unfortunately.
Yep.
And Garrett from CSI Suspension, he's really done great things to help me get more comfortable in the car and help my dad, find the next setup. And he's also helping me showcase Victory Fuel, which we now have available at every racetrack in our merchandise trailer. And Impacts Signs, Awnings, and Graphics, David and Julie Goodson. They do a tremendous amount of stuff for the sport, and they're helping us. They keep our cars looking very good. Very blessed to have them on board. And there's plenty of other little people. I'm very thankful for every single one of them, and my parents and Haley for believing in me, because as selfish as it is, they're doing it for me, and I know that they love it, but they are doing it for me, and I'm very blessed to have such amazing people in my life. And it takes a small army for us, but it takes an army to make this happen, and everyone's doing their part, and I really want to make them proud, and I'm just so thankful to be here.
Yeah, well, I think you're making everybody proud. So keep that up. Obviously, you'll have to go back and read some of the comments, thanking Haley for her service and everybody from Colorado rooting for you. But yeah, we'll be in touch, Danny. Maybe we'll get you on at the mid-season or end of the year when you get a couple high limit wins, and we'll be talking to a superstar.
Hell yeah!
All right, well, sounds good. I appreciate you, Brandon and Blair, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy.
Hopefully we'll see you.
All right, take care, buddy.
See you.
All right, Danny Sams on the Throwin Sliders podcast. What
wise beyond his years, man. I was so done at that age, It's just it's pretty awesome to see, and obviously that's why he's able to maintain and race at that level. He's got a long, good, bright future ahead of him. So
absolutely,
that's really cool.
Yeah, Blair and I always, and like you said, absolutely incredible interview there with Danny. And when we get anybody right as a guest, Blair and I are always trying to depict how we, go about, what do we ask them, kind of how do we shape this, especially if they have a long career, some of the guests that we've had on, or a short career like Danny, but a rather successful career in the amount of, or the lack of amount of years that he's run. It's really incredible, and especially to be so well put together. You see a lot of the seasoned veterans, like whoever you want to say, in any interview, podcast, or just regular media interview, you can tell the seasoned guys have gone through this a lot and they know how to talk. They might have had PR coaching and classes, but I mean, for just grinding, like I said, wearing so many hats on that different race team, it's very incredible to see that he's so well put together and is trying to grow the sport, right? Like he's not just saying, "Oh, I want to make it," and then be settled like with the shocks and stuff like that. He's trying to grow it. So really cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that interview. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties there at the start. I'll admit this is all on me. It wasn't on Blair. I created this episode while in Vegas last week, and the time zone.
What happens in Vegas?
Well, no, I stayed away from the strip, but strictly business. But anyways, I do apologize for that. So hopefully you were able to get the content. Obviously, you can go back here on our Facebook page or YouTube and watch it back, or listen to Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. With that, we do still have a little bit of stuff that we wanted to get to. Obviously, Mr. Blair raced this past weekend, and we want to chat about that. So yeah, we want to pause, let Blair and I get a little drink. Apologies to those who I guess have ordered Mountain Ops the last couple weeks. They switched it back on us, so it's no longer a referral link that we were dropping in the episode at the end of each show. It's now back to the promo code TS Podcast. Same 20% off discount anytime you use it, unless there's a ginormous sale going on, of course. But ad is still true, 20% off TS Podcast. So make sure you do that. I know a lot of guys, and thank you, Ryan Rader. Hopefully a proud new customer. I'm not sure if he's gotten his product yet, but we did see that come across. So appreciate you, buddy, for taking a step with us and supporting those who support us. So we appreciate that. You too can do the same. We'll play the ad, and then Blair's going to give us a recap of this weekend. Whether you're chasing checkered flags, chasing elk in the mountains, casting a line, or crushing early morning workouts in the gym, there's one name every high performer should know: Mountain Ops. This team fuels athletes, hunters, racers, and weekend warriors with the cleanest, hardest-hitting supplements on the market. Let's be honest, this sport isn't for the soft. Late nights in the garage, long drives to the track, and hot evenings in the pits and in the car. We are built different. That's why we run on Mountain Ops. Their supplements hit hard, feel clean, and don't have all that junk you can't pronounce. From early mornings to late nights on race day, this is the stuff that keeps the crew moving and ready for the next lap. Want in? Head to mtnops.com, enter code TS Podcast at checkout, and get 20% off your order. That's right, enter code TSPODCAST at checkout for 20% off your order. You don't just want to show up, you want to win. Fuel like you mean it. Winners use Mountain Ops. Proud supporting partner of the Throwin Sliders podcast. There we go. I admittedly have not got my order in for horchata flavored hydrate. I need to do that. We were, yeah. So get yours. I see Ryan Raiders got it in the mail. Yeah. So appreciate you guys for checking Mountain Ops. At the very least, click on their link, see what they're about. Great behind the scenes, Mr. Trevor, the owner of the company, for what his values and beliefs are. Definitely go check that out. Blair and I are big believers in the products too as well. So yeah, Danny, I had everything planned to kind of honor Mr. Kyle Busch at the beginning of the show. Those on YouTube saw it, Facebook, but yeah, unfortunate deal. We can get right into that before we get into Blair's weekend recap. But yeah, just there's not, I mean, every social media outlet has obviously covered it since Thursday last week, but just really shows you, you know, the racing community and how we all come together when anybody, you know, tragically, specifically loses their life. It's just very unfortunate. And you know, of anything, you know, obviously I think everybody's in the same boat of, you know, Samantha and Brexton and Lennox. It's just really unfortunate, especially with Brexton, you know, making his way through asphalt and dirt, right? 11 years old, and, you know, having Kyle right there beside him each step of the way. And yeah, I can't even, you know, put that into words. But yeah, I don't know if Blair, I don't know if you caught any interviews from Sunday with Samantha. And
I actually, I turned it on, just my wife, you know, had been watching some of the clips and stuff. So I actually went back and watched it. It's just actually hard to watch a woman grieving like that and to hold the kids and stuff. I mean, I know it happens all the time with people, and he's obviously famous. Yeah. So, but to be in front of the people like that, I can't imagine what they're going through. Terrible thing, you know, whether you were a fan or not. I think that was the one good thing, you know, to see people come together. There's still some decency in this country, and people Absolutely. Still care about each other. You know, so extremely sad. I know that, sheesh, it just, you know, I guess getting a little older stuff hits you a little harder, and you're like 41 years old. I'm not that far away. And right. Can't imagine, you know, and we don't have little kids. Right. So, you just feel terrible and you know, wish them all the best. So, yeah. I mean, it's been covered, you know, like crazy, but man, just a sudden tragic thing, and you know, doing something dangerous for his whole career. And then, you know, the sim finally,
that's how he goes.
You know, you go sick in the sim, and what a shame, but that's, you know, life, you never know. So at least he lived a good one, and I feel bad for the wife and kids. So I think he would have at least said he did a lot of what he set out to do, but it's never the right time.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just very unfortunate. So yeah, all the Rowdy fans, and hopefully continue on the legacy, and, you know, never lose sight of what he was and who he stood for. So anyways, yes, prayers to the Busch family, RCR, everybody involved. That's just tragic. So anyways, your weekend at Holyoke, talk us through it.
Yeah. Well, we can do a quick recap. I mean, it was, you know, nothing crazy. They had a pretty good car count. Track was fun. You know, there was 14 guys signed in, like we talked about. National tours struggling a little bit. I think they had to back down the race schedule. So we're seeing a lot of those guys. I think 5 or 6 full-time guys pretty much, or close to a few. At least Gossels were there. Wiedemann from Kansas, you know, at least a lot of top dogs, fast guys. So it was the day of sevens for me. Car was, you know, pretty ugly to start setup wise. I missed it. Holyoke, I've only raced there one time in the sprint car, and had a really good, actually a really good car. It was only my second race in the sprint car. I think we ran top 5 in an 18 or 20 car show. So we kind of did what I'd done there, and it changed a little bit, and it got real dry. And so I qualified 7th, rolled out 3rd in the heat race, and finished there, I think 3rd or 4th. I think the outside lane pulled, so didn't really go anywhere. But I was turning, like, I finally hit the chip, and I had an 8800 chip in there. So we were way deep on gear. Wasn't sure. I couldn't really feel it spinning the tires. So I thought, man, I was having to lift like 3/4 of the way down the chute. So Tom and I got to work and changed the gear. We went 20 points on the gear, which I've never gone that far.
You said that with Danny, and I was like, holy.
Yeah. And so my dad and brother were watching on TV, and they're like, I just changed the gear, do it. And
it was on TV?
On IMCA TV. Yeah. Yeah. So
why didn't you tell me?
I don't know. I was so busy.
I know, you were busy.
I actually meant to keep you updated, but yeah. So we went 20 points on the gear, and then went out for the main event. I drew the pill, rolled off 7th. So right where we ended, it was like all day. Everything was 7, 7, 7. Right in the mid pack there. I know, that's what I thought. I was going to see how the race went, but yeah, so pulled up. I actually got to 5th. One car about wiped us out pretty early. He just spun. We got
it, Raider. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, he actually had to pull off early. I think he's got.
I say that because he said you finally beat him.
I told him what was going to happen if I didn't. So it was going to be an SFW. So. Yeah, so the track actually took rubber, and it was really moist, so we kind of had the car tight for the main, and I knew it was going to be a chance. But it was the most fun I've had driving this year. I was kind of actually down in spirits and had to get a couple ass chewings, tell me to quit being a baby and suck it up and get a little perspective. And so yeah, a little tight, but got the wing all the way back forward. Track took rubber, and we were just laying on it. And Austin Gossel, we were racing pretty hard there for a while, and I saw him stick his nose under me, and it was kind of funny. I was like, well, if the rubber's even better down there, that's not going to happen again. And I was like, well, I'm just going to hug the bottom here for a while and hang on for 5th, because I didn't have anything for the guys in front of me, but brakes went away. Same story we've been having. Everything else worked great. The brakes were working great for the beginning, just so if you're a guy out there and you're thinking about trying stainless to save a little money from the titanium, but be a little lighter than the steel, don't do it. They're going in the trash or selling to somebody who wants to try it because they're brand new. Didn't hurt the rotors or anything. They just go away. And like I told you, Brandon, it was literally like almost wide open around there. And luckily it had rubber I'd had to pull off. So
yeah, we talked about that a little in the pre-show. I don't want to necessarily share my legend car story about the same thing, but I was telling Blair, I just can't even imagine, and obviously Blair's been testing, tinking with brakes and different materials and stuff like that, but I can't even imagine, ripping in these freaking missiles and you hit the left, the left pedal and it just, there's nothing. Like can't even imagine what goes through your head, the feeling of your heart. Yeah.
It's funny because the first time it happens is when you're nervous. Like I was actually nervous, and that's, it is funny because the left front still had, but like I had to go to the floor and then the left front would pick up just enough. But like, so by the time with rubber down racetrack, you're going so fast. It was like, this is useless. So just I actually pulled it back to make sure there was no drag. And I was like, I'll let it cool off in case I really need it. And I'll just be trying to pump like hell. But luckily we were pretty much single file. And when you go in there, that was the good thing. If it was a slick racetrack, I would have had to pull out, but rubber down like that, it was just like, you wing the car in earlier and get it hooked up in the rubber, and man, it's fun. It's actually like, well, I got no choice but to just go balls to the wall and lay this thing.
I was going to say, I don't know if that's fun, but
yeah,
that's why you sprint car drivers are.
Yeah, well, and I'm thinking like I kind of glanced at the tack and I'm like 8,400 RPM, 584 gear. Damn, I'm hauling ass, and I got nothing when I touch it. And I thought like after 3 laps it'd cool off. I went without touching it for about 3 laps, so I'd have to back up my corner entry and just load it in there. And I'm like, hey,
listen to what you just said though. I went 3 laps in a sprint car without touching the brake. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, in the rubber you can do it because like a lot of times,
like, yeah, continue just fucking everyday life. Like, no, that's.
It makes you. It gives you that
difference between you and me, and that's why I just talk about racing and you actually race still. So
yeah, it feels good. It is. You'd like it. It's because it's like, there's enough rubber here just to. It's rubber racing's kind of funny like that. But yeah, so actually my biggest scare, I told you, was trying to go to the pits. I was like, oh shit, like I'm going to have to park in Guam and everybody's going to be wondering where I'm at because I had to pull back around. I was like, I go to pull off the racetrack and push the brake to slow down and jump over the track off the backside to get in the pits. I was like, there is absolutely nothing there. I'm like, I'm going to go in here and plow everybody. So I went around and just barely pulled it out of gear. I was like, I guess they're going to have to come push me. And I just coasted for, 100 yards until it came to a stop. Yeah, that was crazy. And Kirk, I put in Willwood XR fluid. I didn't boil it. Talk to those guys. It's just the stainless, and even Austin was behind me when they finally got around me. I was like, couldn't hold the nose down anymore, and him and Fetterman went by me, and it's just that rotor. You could see it glowing, and when it starts glowing, it's gone. It's not like the titanium where you can just trash on it. And that last one I had last year hung up and drug, but it still worked. It's just miserable.
I think we should tailor your nickname. Have RS print you a decal that says "Glow" and Blair Cooper.
Yeah, I'm hopefully never gonna even have to have that problem again. So we're gonna spend the money, go back to the titanium stuff, and or even keep steel. I don't know. I've never had problems with either of those like this. So yeah, but not having to use them is the best option. If you don't have to touch them, you're doing better.
Speak for yourself. Anyway, all right. So you're on deck. 5th, June 5th, not this Friday, but the next. El Paso.
Friday and Saturday
is 2-day show. Yep. Okay. So hopefully Mother Nature cooperates. Obviously, we still got a lot of time before now and then. Let's talk a little CMS, Centennial Midget Series. Obviously, we got Mark and Samantha Hamilton Motorsports, Hoosier the Rockies watching. Great. I'll start by saying this. Obviously, I didn't watch the race or anything in person, but the amount of content that you guys posted prior to the race, leading up to it, building it, get everybody excited, and then post-race for Blair and I to get on here and talk about it, phenomenal. I assume, Samantha, that was you. No offense, Mark, but keep doing that. That is amazing. That is what is going to build that series and get people interested. I mean, I say build that series, continue to grow. Yeah, grow the previously the RMMRA, butchered at that time. Sorry. But anyways, I saw, excuse me, I saw post-race interviews on different drivers' social media platforms. And then obviously the results that you guys posted were phenomenal. So I'll start by saying that. And Blair, I don't know if you had anything to add there.
Well, for an inaugural race, 20 cars, it is a struggle this year. I mean, they're in Kansas, so at least they've got kind of a central location. Their Garden City Airport Raceway is pretty popular, short track for those guys, 600s, midgets, all that. So, the content, but just seeing the guys show up and support, obviously people are excited. I'm excited. I even heard a couple people I talked to said, man, it might be time to go midget racing in some different classes. And they're like, if it's going to be like this and other classes are struggling, let's build this up. And, so I think it's only going to get bigger, and probably honestly, that region, that series in this region could save what was a dying thing. And when you get people excited, the purse is decent, people are fun to work with, you're promoting drivers. These guys, a lot of midget guys too, they're either in between, they're either absolute seasoned vets, and this is kind of where they landed. They may not have the money to run full national tour, and there may be up and coming guys, even Cox won the first night, that are running national tour. So you're getting a big mix, and midgets are one of those that you never know what you're going to get, and as far as a field, and a lot of talent there too. So pretty excited. I mean, you and I both love midgets too. Anything open wheel like that. And man, I was really pumped. We were checking it out, getting phone calls on the way home. And I said, guys being like, hey, maybe this is the time. I'm like, it's absolutely the time. Go do it right now. Sprint car, midget, Colorado, but honestly, if I was to start over, and you were going to race close to home and that series, that would be one that would be awesome.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, really stoked.
I was just sitting here listening to you. When's the last time we've seen 20, I'll go out on a limb and say 20 cars in any class on a non-national night?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we had them for sprint cars a little bit there, with the Swindell shows, as far as Colorado goes. When we go on the road, you see it. But I think them being semi-regional series, that's the big advantage there, because they're not just a local, but they're not spread out all over the country.
Yeah. I mean,
it's tough. It's not often anymore.
Yeah, that's obviously we wish it was having B mains and C mains like the good old days, so to speak. But yeah, to kick off your inaugural race and have 20 drivers in it, that's pretty cool. So kudos to Mark and Samantha and everybody making that work. And I guess I'll admit I guess Patrick mentioned it, and obviously Patrick too, obviously part of the CMS. Don't want to leave Patrick out. I missed the in the interview where Mr. Buback is not in that car anymore. So, but
and they got
so in victory lane.
Yeah, absolutely. So fast car, good driver, made it happen. So both nights look like good shows.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll keep tabs on that. Keep you guys updated throughout the season with CMS. I'm a bad host. I do not have their schedule up in front of me to know when they race next. Maybe Samantha can put it in the comments quicker than I can find it, but I'm sure it's in the very near future. But so man, I think that's all we officially. What's that?
So, no, that was a good night. I really just was just pleasantly surprised. Not that I had any doubts, but really good show. So a lot of fun. Yeah. Thanks for putting that one together.
Yeah, all kudos to Tony Laporta there and getting that kind of together. And like I said, I was a little nervous that it wasn't going to come to fruition tonight, because I think Danny had even mentioned last week when we were exchanging texts about June 6th. There you go. So the same night Blair will be racing. Where you at, Samantha? Where we
they're
racing?
at El Paso with us, I'm pretty sure. So they added them to the schedule for night 2.
Sweet.
So El Paso County Saturday night. So Friday night they got a bunch of classes. Saturday night it'll be a lot of open wheel stuff. So that'll be a blast.
I will unfortunately have to miss that one. I'm turning a ripe old 33 years old, so I'm gonna go do a barbecue. But I'll be there on the 5th. So hopefully everybody comes for the 2-night show. Obviously we'll pump it up a little bit next week. Got one more episode before now and then, but forgot what I was gonna say. Danny and I were exchanging texts last week getting this all together, and he's like, man, I've been sick, and obviously hearing him, I mean, he's thrashing. So I was glad he was able to, save some of his voice to give us an hour of his time. But really good interview, great young man, and has a bright future. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. And keep them coming. We do want to keep harping on our mailbag. I've done a poor job, and I sound like a broken record, but we really need to get that going. Thank you guys for all the support with Mr. Rockingham. I was flabbergasted just as well as everybody that watched that reel in the episode last week. So, never know what you're going to find. So with that, we'll be back again next Monday, 7:30 p.m. I will not schedule it in a different time zone because I will be in Denver this week. So again, apologies for that. But I'll pass to you, Blair, but appreciate you guys. Yeah, I'm not Mr. Worldwide. I strictly business. Yep. Yeah.
All right, buddy. No, I got nothing to add. Thanks, everybody. We really appreciate you. I'm finally quit being a baby, so I'm just gonna get in and drive the damn car, kind of like Danny said. So just get in and do what you do. And if it's a terrible setup, you'll see me either riding wheelies, slapping the wall, or we're kind of gonna go back to old school. So finally having fun again. Everything else is working great. Got a few things. We'll get the brakes fixed, and it actually felt good to be in the race car again. So love it. This is why we do it, and we appreciate all you guys.
Yep, and like Danny said, be a good person. Keep throwing those sliders.
Yeah, be good.
This was another production of Scrubbin' Tires Media. The Throwin' Sliders podcast is hosted by Blair Cooper and Brandon Hall. Video and audio was created by Bryce Holcomb. Please like, share, and leave a 5-star review. And as always, keep throwing those sliders.